Class 8, Honeydew, Poem 6, The Duck and the Kangaroo. The poem, The Duck and the Kangaroo, elaborates the desire of a duck confined within the limits of the pond to go beyond and travel the world like the kangaroo did. The duck requests the kangaroo to take it on a trip and find a solution to the problems which the kangaroo would face. The poem was written by Edward Lear. It was first published in Lear's 1870 collection Nonsense Songs. The poem depicts a dialogue between a pond-bound duck and the kangaroo, who represents the duck's greatest chance at freedom. The poem begins with a sweet conversation between a duck and a kangaroo. The duck feels sorry for himself as his own life is a bore and he has already spent a lot of time in the nasty pond. He has a great desire to take a round of the world, but unfortunately never got an opportunity to do so. One day, he requests the kangaroo to allow him to sit on the top of his tail and have a tour of the world. The kangaroo thinks about the duck's proposal deeply, but he has an objection to his request because the duck's feet are wet and cold from water, which may cause him rheumatism. The duck assures the kangaroo that nothing would happen like this, as he has already bought 4 pairs of fine, smooth socks to put on while sitting on the back of kangaroo for the ride. Besides, he has bought a cloak to protect himself from the cold, and he also told that he would smoke a cigar every day. Finally, the kangaroo agrees to the duck's proposal and allows him a ride on his back. Both start their happy journey and hope the world thrives. They rounded the world thrice. The poet says that there is no one so happy like the duck and the kangaroo. Now, let's study the poem in detail. The Duck and the Kangaroo, stanza 1. Said the duck to the kangaroo, "Good gracious, how you hop over the fields and the water too, as if you never would stop. My life is a bore in this nasty pond, and I long to go out in the world beyond. I wish I could hop like you," said the duck to the kangaroo. The duck is amazed to see the movement of the kangaroo. It expressed that the kangaroo could hop continuously over the fields and water bodies. The duck's life was boring as it remained in the pool all the time. It wished to see the world beyond the limits of the pond. It wishes that it could also hop like kangaroo. Stanza 2. Please give me a ride on your back, said the duck to the kangaroo. I would sit quite still and say nothing but quack the whole of the long day through. And we would go to the Dee and the Jelly-Bo-Lee, over the land and over the sea. Please take me a ride. Oh, do, said the duck to the kangaroo. The duck requests the kangaroo to give it a ride on its back. The duck also promised that it would sit quietly and would just quack all the day. It promised that it will not speak a single word other than to quack all the day. The duck lists the places that they would visit as Dee and Jelly-Bo-Lee. It adds that they would hop over the land and the sea. Stanza 3. Said the kangaroo to the duck, this requires some little reflection. Perhaps on the whole it might bring me luck. And there seems but one objection, which is, if you will let me speak so bold, your feet are unpleasantly wet and cold, and would probably give me the rheumatis, said the kangaroo. The kangaroo replied that it had to think over it. It had to reflect on it. That means it had to think over it. The idea could be good for him, but he had an objection. The kangaroo had an objection. The duck's feet is always wet and cold because it is always in the water and its feet is always wet and cold. And this could give kangaroo rheumatism. That means it could give kangaroo body pain. Stanza 4. Said the duck, as I sat on the rocks, I have thought over that completely, and I bought 4 pairs of worsted socks which fit my web feet neatly. And to keep out the cold, I have bought a cloak, and every day a cigar I will smoke, all to follow my own dear true love of a kangaroo. The duck said that as it sat on the rocks during the day, it had thought over this problem. In order to avoid that problem, the duck had bought 4 pairs of worsted socks which fitted its web-shaped feet well. In order to stay warm, it would wear a cloak and also smoke a cigar every day. The duck would do all this to protect the kangaroo as it was a beloved. Stanza 5. Said the kangaroo, I am ready, all in the moonlight pale, but to balance me well, dear duck, sit steady and quiet at the end of my tail. So away they went with a hope and a bound, and they hoped the whole world 3 times round. And who's so happy, oh who, as the duck and the kangaroo? The kangaroo was satisfied with the duck's response and got ready for the ride. At night, when the sky was filled with the pale light of the moon, they started their trip with a hop. The kangaroo asked the duck to hold it firmly, and they traveled around the world 3 times. Both of them enjoyed each other's company. The message of the poem, The Duck and the Kangaroo, is that you cannot enjoy your life if you are stuck in a boring routine. One should enjoy many adventures and try new things to get over the boredom of a fixed routine. So the duck is bored in his pond because he has been there all his life. He wanted to go on an adventure to the Dee and the Jelly Bully, and he convinced the kangaroo to take him along. The poem also teaches us that every problem has got a solution. Just as the duck thought of a solution for his wet and cold feet, that the kangaroo was guarded about.